Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's webinar, Inside the Enterprise, How CX Leaders Turn AI Hype into Reality. I'm joined by three incredible business leaders here joining us. I'm going to have them introduce themselves here in a second, but we've got representatives from TailorCare, Aptive Environmental, and Aqua Finance here joining me today. And I'm really excited for today's conversation. Folks, excited to dive in? Ready to go?
Absolutely.
Cool. Let's do it. We're going to start with the easiest question of today's conversation, just grounding the audience on who you are and a little bit about your business. So I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself, your role, your organization, and let's add one thing. Let's add, what is your top CX priority for this year? Tiffany, do you want to go first?
Sure. I'm Tiffany Gosland. I'm the Senior Director at Aptive Pest Control. I oversee everything that a customer touches, both from a call perspective, SMS, email. Our one thing that we're really going after this year is customer effort score. Easy for the customer, and hopefully that equals a really good customer experience.
We're going to get to the rest of the introductions here in a second, but I feel like I got to ask, what is customer effort score? Tell the audience a little bit about that.
Customer effort score is just like what I said, it's ease of customer use. So there's some Gartner articles and some information out there that says currently, how easy is it to interact with your company when a customer has to?
Yeah.
So we're gleaning into something called a customer effort score. How hard is it for a customer to reschedule their pest control, pay their bill, find out their balance?
Incredible.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
super fun.
Steve?
Sure. I'm Steve Tudewall. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at TailorCare. I've just been there for about a year. It's a young company. We've only been around for 3 years, and so we're still kind of getting our legs under ourselves, but we are a care navigation service for patients suffering with musculoskeletal conditions. Probably one is, how do we make a personal experience to every one of our customer conversations?
Yeah, personalization is a huge theme this year for sure. Dan?
Dan Greer, SVP, Servicing Operations for Aqua Finance. If I had to boil it down to one, it's kind of both those combined. It's closing the loop, just getting insight into the customer experience through whatever channel they choose to interact with us through. And then how hard is it when they do?
Nice. Very cool. And one of the things that I really love about our panel today is I feel like we're on a pretty interesting spectrum of kind of AI sophistication, I guess, or in the AI journey. First question I want to ask is how would you describe where you're at in your AI journey? Are you just getting started? Do you feel like you've achieved mastery in certain areas? I'll go around the panel. Maybe nobody feels mastery. Maybe we can go in reverse order. Dan, do you want to go first on that one?
Sure. So definitely past experimentation. Dove in head first last year with you guys. It's really kind of challenged us to look at how do we use it in all facets, though. We've been joking around recently, which is AI overall. So making sure that it's in the conversation. We launched partway. We're really excited to get started with AI agents, both through the web portal, which we've put a lot of work into the last year, and then also over the phone.
For us, we have a lot of different AI initiatives going on. And so, yeah, I would say we're early working with Cresta. And so we're maybe still in experimentation, about to go into larger production. But we are sort of in a similar stage across our entire platform of what we do and trying to really embed AI in everything. So yeah, I mean, no one's at mastery right now. Maybe you guys are as close as anyone, but it'll change next week.
Yeah. I will be honest and say that we're nowhere near mastery ourselves, even though we were founded out of Stanford's AI PhD program. We are truly an AI native organization, but surely there are still so many more things that even we can do too. What about you, Tiffany?
Gosh, I would say certain parts of our business are still experimental. But if I'm looking at where we've been the last 4 years with Cresta, we're sitting right in between adapting and integration. We're kind of just right on the cusp there, especially with some of the things that we originally started with. So
Yeah.
we're a really interesting and fun, exciting part because we've had it for just enough time. I want to be candid, and it's only been in the past 18 months that the rest of the company's been like, oh wait, what?
Hmm.
How long have you had this?
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's certainly a journey, right? Like
Yes.
I think that's one of the things that, and we're going to talk a lot about like, how do you get started with AI? How did you all get started with your AI transformation journeys? But I think the biggest misnomer is like, people are like, you flip a switch and this thing's like on and going, right? Which is certainly not necessarily the case all the time, right? And so, yeah, I appreciate the candor. I think folks need to realize that and prepare for it, right? And which we'll talk about today. But maybe let's dive into that exact topic. Like, as you were thinking about where to get started in your AI transformation journey across the business, because there's so many things, right? Like, people are talking about not just necessarily customer experience, but there's engineering applications, there's design applications, there's so many things obviously that AI is revolutionizing. Like, how did you think about, how did the organization think about, where do you start even in AI? Steve, I think you have like an interesting vantage point here, especially from the role of COO.
My answer, I think, is pretty consistent today, which is kind of everywhere and everything. You have to get started, you have to get moving, or you're going to get left behind, whether that's your call center, or that is your technology platform, or it is how you engineer or how you create PowerPoint decks. It is kind of everything you do all the way throughout the journey. And so we're just trying to really promote education, adoption, and and then train people up to become more educated and fluent in their ability to let AI change the way they do what they do.
Yeah, this is a pretty huge change for a lot of people in terms of how they're used to doing work. Are there any kind of like tricks of the trade so far that you're like getting people to rethink all of their work from an AI first lens?
I think you have to give people freedom. You have to give them the tools, and you have to give them freedom and time to be creative. And then you've got to find your champions, your people who are just excellent. Personally, I found our groups that are in kind of in the analytics space, so kind of adjacencies toward AI engineering, our first adopters and advanced adopters, and let them kind of show people the path, and then everyone's jumping on behind them.
Maybe Tiffany or Dan, anything to add in terms of like, how do you figure out where to even start with?
Well, in the contact center, you just throw a rock and hit anything. I think you tackle it just about with everything. Like, where the pain points are in the contact center. It's the after call work, right? Getting rid of that is when you dive in head first, and you can get the benefit back. And that was the other piece, not looking for perfection. I heard it at the first CAB meeting. Somebody had said, get comfortable with it not being perfect. And that really kind of changed how I was approaching it. Outside of that, again, it's really just making sure that it's in every conversation. We changed our recruiting strategy to make sure that people that we hire have a background or interests or are using it. It's part of the interview process. How do you use it in your personal life? I personally use it all day, every day. And in my team meetings, like, that's something I, tell my team I expect them to be using it to make their jobs and their days easier.
Right.
Like, there's no reason to do it the hardest way possible if you don't have to. It at least gets the foundation. It's not going to do the perfect deck, not at all. But it still shortens that runway quite a bit.
I've heard somebody refer kind of like the last couple of years, like if 2 years ago was the year of the wow with AI, last year was really the year of that kind of like how, and this year is the year of the now, where people are starting to like get fruits from the labor. So yeah, love that. As you get started in AI, one of the things that I think most folks that are watching probably are going to face or are already facing, given again, this is the year of the now, is difficulty aligning teams internally, whether that be in terms of like where do you invest in AI, whether that be like technical teams and the business side. How did you all approach aligning the organization internally? Dan, curious if you have a
so we were the first group to jump in, and it was with Cresta, and then it kind of took over everything. But this year, just in the last 3 months, they actually stood up an AI council. And so it's leaders throughout the business that are probably more your your champions of it, right? That are a little bit closer to it, who are a little bit more knowledgeable, and they're kind of pressure testing what the business wants to do with it, what the cost is, whether or not it's going to scale. Are we going after or targeting the right things?
Yeah, so I kind of create like aligning on the roadmap across the organization. Is it folks from like a bunch of different functions that are a part of the council?
Yeah, so there's some from operations, there's some from sales, there's some from the IT team, there's people
Legal? Do you have legal?
Legal is whether they want to or not. Yeah, they're there. I think everybody's aligned on we want to do it. We just want to do it with the right controls in place. We want to do it targeting the things that are going to have the biggest return on investment.
Any other thoughts on this one in terms of like aligning the teams internally?
For us, it was call center first, and then everyone else did stuff after. I think because they saw like, oh wait, you're doing that, like then it was a little bit of FOMO versus I don't want you to have something that we're not doing somewhere else.
Right.
But that's actually created a really good kind of good, safe excitement around it. Our biggest buy-in was our technology team because I think a lot of technology teams, their first thing is, well, we can build it. And so we went through that and it took a little bit of like, well, let me show you what's already been built because this is already here. Let me just show you what it has and let's actually have open conversations about the comparison of, do you really, probably not going to get this close because this, Cresta's already done this. And so let's actually look at, apples for apples. But what can we use different parts of technology for different parts of the business?
Right.
For me, I was going to say it's not a hard sell. And, to your point around this is the year of the now. Well, it's now AI is readily available to the masses in everyday life, not just your work life. And so as the tools have come about, whether they're the latest LLM model or it's something in a database or it's something in a customer experience, they are there and adding value across all of the dimensions. And so buy-in is actually pretty easy. At this point now, it's really focused. Like, what can we do that will have the greatest impact? And call center is, one of the best examples for that. Like you said, through a rock, it's gonna hit something.
Yeah.
For us, it's not a lack of interest or desire to jump in and get it started with it. It's prioritizing and resource allocation. Like Cresta, the only reason we got that off the ground as quickly as we did was it was like turning a switch for our use case, right? Once we got the summarizations going, like that was a huge saver. And there was zero involvement from our IT folks, really. So that one made that one a winner right out the gates.
Yeah, getting quick wins and then starting to stack those. Right? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so now we've kind of picked an area to dive into with AI. We've aligned the internal teams. How did you start to cut through the noise of all of the vendors, technology partners that are out there in the market that you could be working with? Anyone want to go first?
I mean, I used AI. And I did some research. But I also did a lot of research using Gartner and whatnot. I talked to some of your other customers. We got a few people on the phone and asked them point blank in front of each other who was better. And one of the suppliers said that you guys were the most mature and they were an infant in comparison. So, and that was somebody who we were already using some of their services for. So that made it easier to sell it to our IT folks because they thought, of course, you're already using a solution. Just go with them and add their product. Separately from that, it was really seeing live examples. Like it's nice, a nice pretty slide is nice, but seeing it actually in action makes it so much different, so much better, especially when you're using the technology and it's a live example. It wasn't a pre-recorded, you gave me your best one that you had in the workshop, right?
I think for me, size, scale, experience, funding, like all really play into that equation. You don't want to have to go with 12 different point solutions. You want someone who's really solving a big problem and someone who has the money and the runway to continue to solve the problem, because as advanced as the technology is today, it will be obsolete in a year. And so you're looking for partners that are planning for a year and 2 years out and want to hop on their coats.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about like the point solution kind of thought. Is the thought there, hey, let's try not to let's pick one partner and go really, really deep with them. Is that kind of the core of that thesis, or is there something else there?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying for sure. There are lots of smaller new point solutions that are going to continue to show up every single day, probably for the next couple of years. But yeah, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone that is going to continue to invest in the right way to build a portfolio of products.
What really made Aptive's decision was partnership. This was 4 years ago, actually 4 years ago this month, that we went live with Agent Assist for Aptive. And so we really needed someone to partner with us because we had no idea what we were doing. We knew the problem we were trying to solve, but Cresta comes in as a partner. Someone that they don't just, the other thing that was really helpful for us, because at the time, our call center was only about 1.5 years old. Aptive had created the call center about 4 or 5 years in as a company. And so, yeah, it was like, okay, we don't really know, but you guys seem to know. So we needed a partnership, not we're going to roll this out and you're never going to hear from us again. We hope it works. Best of luck. We really needed someone we could meet with weekly and go through like what was working, what isn't working, what we still were like, hey, how do we do this?
You've all covered such really, really incredible points here. I think, Dan, your biggest point was like, hey, let's look for people who can prove it, right? Prove it with outside sources, prove it with actual production examples. So really, really love that. And Tiffany, you're talking about find somebody who is ready to be a partner for you, right? Like AI is not like the previous generation of software where it's like you're buying licenses and they kind of get you live and that's it, right? You don't hear from them until it's time for the renewal, right? But in AI's case, you have to build this thing kind of together, right? And that's why at Cresta, we're really big on ensuring that we have, a forward deployed team working with you, especially for our fully autonomous AI agents. We have a customer success team, the implementation team. We try to surround you with all the support that you potentially need because we know that it's a partnership at the end of the day. And Steve, what you're calling out is find somebody who is kind of platform first, right? That can be a multi-pronged partner for you, not just this year, but over kind of the long term. So I love all of these points. As you all started to get deeper on the space and started to see maybe different demos, you're probably still seeing a bunch of demos of what's kind of new and upcoming. What do you feel like a big part of today's webinar is like separating the hype from reality, right? Like, what are the things that you've now learned going deeper in the space that are realistic areas people should focus on when it comes to AI for customer experience, or maybe like a little unrealistic? That's kind of like still movie magic today. Any words of advice for the audience? I'll pose this to anybody.
I think Dan already kind of answered it. It reminds me of a movie with, show me the money.
Yeah.
But not really the money. Show me the product. Show me what it actually does. Because the hype comes in from like so many companies are like, we will do this and we're going to solve every problem you have. But how? And can you really show me what I need to see? Mm-hmm. And the Cresta dashboards, having seen lots of demos, are unmatched. In the insights, there's so much there.
I'm curious, are there any use cases that you feel like people should really focus in on? Because like, this is where the reality is today, where you can have tangible benefit. And then are there any things in like the unrealistic, maybe stay away from that bucket? Or this was like a really good idea, but hey, this isn't really where you should start.
I focus on simplicity. So the stuff that's simple, go after it. There's nothing that's simple that can't be tackled with it that I've seen. It's the more complex stuff, and I know that I've brought this to you almost a year ago, and I said something for complaints. Mm-hmm. Like if we could really solve that, especially in a more regulated environment, we care about the complaints. We want to make sure we have line of sight to them, but there's so many nuances to them.
Right.
That would be one that I'd let mature for a minute and continue to focus on it, but it's not something that you're going to get a big bang for your buck right out the gates. But I do think that it would make a lot of compliance departments feel better about the product, one that was focused on something like that.
And I'm sitting here thinking, no, you can build a scorecard for compliance. So that's what we've done. Our legal team, because we have certain compliance things, I'm sure every company does, and our legal team partnered with us and said, actually, I think that we can get this through, can you help us? And so we've built scorecards that capture compliance. It actually unintentionally, we didn't set out to do this, but unintentionally completely automated the process. That we did not set out as a goal, but it was like, let's try this. And then all of a sudden we were like, oh my gosh, we're getting 100% here. They're doing this every single time. The scorecard piece is, I personally haven't ever done it. My team says you got to know it and use it on a regular basis. I don't know if that would solve the complaint piece, but you could definitely put complaints into a scorecard and grab some of the data.
It's difficult with complaints because, there's certain regulatory agencies that their definition of a complaint is anytime a customer expresses dissatisfaction. And where do you draw that line?
Yes.
So you go to write something as simple as that sounds.
It's not.
And it's, I don't like your hold music. Well, technically, that was dissatisfaction. So
Is that a complaint?
it's not.
Yeah.
That's not a complaint.
That's true.
But your point, Dan, is like there's so many quick wins that you can get underneath your belt now. Like just focus there first and then build into, the broader stuff over time. Right?
Yeah, one of the things I brought up to Ping was I had brought up complaints to him, but I also brought up some of the translation stuff. Like our agents, they might take a Spanish phone call, but we want our system of record to house notes all in English. So I've said, well, if it can do the transcription live, why can't it then translate it at the end and summarize the call in English? Because we hadn't gotten that win on the Spanish calls because they were still having to summarize them in English. And then I think it was like maybe a month and a half ago, I logged in one day and I saw it was happening, and I asked the team, like, when did this happen? And they're like, oh, well, we were going to surprise you this week, but we didn't know you'd be in there looking at it already. But that was really cool to see.
Your birthday came early.
Yeah, exactly. That's happened a number of times where I just say, what about this?
Yeah.
And then it's like a few months later, it's happening in the system. It's amazing.
Steve's looking at me. He's like, can I start giving you ideas today? Tomorrow?
Oh, I've already started. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't take long to once you get going, the ideas just keep coming to you and other things that you can do. For us, we're in healthcare. So healthcare is, kind of that ground that everyone's a little afraid of with AI. Everybody's running at it, spending a ton of money on it. But also being cautious in terms of how they use it. Clinical advice, those kinds of things are very scrutinized. Everything related to compliance is really scrutinized. That patient treating clinician relationship is so valuable. How do we replicate that in an AI format? And I think the answer is try. Like the tools are there. Let's give it a try. Let's put it in place with a pilot here, a pilot there. And that's the beauty of Cresta, is that you can build out campaigns and do A/B testing really quickly and see what works. Try it one population and then continue to evolve and learn. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to see how it comes out in healthcare, but 4 months in, and we're pretty excited about it.
Love it.
It's really driven a lot of our innovation. Like, I love going in and just asking the AI analyst, what would be the top 5 things that we could, remove friction from this process for? And that's how we've decided what we're going to tackle through the customer portal. How do we allow them to self-service? And it's really using AI analyst. So it's not really driving other AI innovation necessarily, but it's helping us prioritize what we're spending our money on for the customer experience.
Love that. Yeah, the heart of this question around like what is reality versus what's kind of like not reality is to help the audience figure out how do we kind of construct our roadmap, right? And one of the things that I think is really incredible advice that you all are sharing, kind of underlying all of your answers, is allow your reality to expand over time. once you start going and you knock down some of these quick wins, you'll just come up with new ideas, right? Like the compliance stuff that you talked about, Tiffany. And so, yeah, get started with what you have strong conviction in, that you know is reality based off of everything you've done in the research, in the conversations, and the customer proof points, et cetera. And then allow that reality to expand kind of over time as you get more sophisticated with the solution. I'd love to transition us to how do we kind of like get started? Like, what are the things in terms of technology readiness, data and system readiness, or maybe organizational readiness, knowledge readiness that we need to prepare in order to start embarking on this kind of like AI transformation journey? Tiffany, I think you have a good vantage point here, given that you did a bunch of work and knowledge. Anything that you could share there?
Actually, I'll probably share something unpopular here. We had very few of any of those things. When we rolled out with Cresta, our technology team was not as robust as it is today. We did not have any data. We had a knowledge base-ish. Our knowledge base was an extraction from Slack, from a channel where we grabbed the questions that our call center agents would ask all day. And we extracted it into like this really hokey Google Doc.
Wow.
And that is what we started with. So I would say from my perspective, you don't need to have it all before you start. You can actually have very little and you can still start.
Yeah, the important thing is just going, right?
Yes.
And
Yep.
then
Yeah.
as you start to align on the business metrics that you want to impact, the use cases, you'll figure out the requirements and continue to build over time. Yeah. I appreciate the honesty. Starting advice, Steve, Dan?
Again, keep it simple. Like, don't focus on 20 different KPIs. Figure out which ones actually matter.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out which things have dependencies. Where you have a dependency and you don't have the data, then don't go that direction. Go the direction where you don't need the data. After call work, you don't need anything. You just need it hooked up. Like, there's wins everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes, a bit harder to find them of the same magnitude later, but you can knock those ones out and then use the savings to pay for the resources that you need in order to get your knowledge base set up, to get your data structured properly. So yeah, get started, knock out those.
That's great advice.
Yeah, tech debt is a really important phrase that we haven't used today. So cutting through the noise I would have brought that up as companies that are trying to transition. They are not AI first, but they were, call it legacy systems that are trying to convert. That's a different challenge, and it's going to move at a different speed, and it's going to create a whole bunch of issues on the side of that platform vendor. The same is true for a call center. If you, like I said, we're a pretty young organization, right. So we're built with a good data infrastructure. We're built with some good engineering teams. We don't have a lot of legacy process in place. So for us, we're 4 months in and we've launched almost all your products.
Wow.
So if you have the luxury of not having a lot of tech debt, you can move incredibly quickly through that priority list. But either way, the answer is just to get going.
Yeah, love that. So now we're going. I think a lot of times what people encounter as they get launched with any kind of AI technology, and we alluded to this a little bit earlier, is like the AI is coming to kind of take my job type of idea, right? As you were thinking about driving adoption in each of your organizations, how did you like approach getting people comfortable with using AI solutions?
We did it by accident. It wasn't really an accident. It was an accident, but we didn't intentionally do it. There was a tech outage that cut the connection for Cresta to be working. And some of the agents that were not the biggest fans, because that was their fear, you're taking our jobs. The minute they didn't have it, the Teams was blowing up. Like, where is Cresta? How long until it's back? I really need this. Because they started to see their scorecards improve. They started to see the customer experience scores improve.
Mm-hmm.
So once it was taken away, they were, feverishly waiting for it to get back. that changed. And then the other piece was just showing all the other business leaders who had not yet decided to take the plunge, all of our results. And so then it was the FOMO, right? Like, oh, they haven't missed a target or a goal in like 7 months since they launched. Like, okay, maybe we should look at it. So again, the proof, and then, take it away.
It warms my heart. I think you don't know how much you're loved until it's gone.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. That's exactly it.
Yeah. Tiffany, how did you think about driving adoption?
A lot of our we never took it away though, but I love that idea. For our original use case was in helping new hire agents be more successful at their roles. So we used Agent Assist. So the buy-in for that was pretty good for the agents because they finally had what they felt like was a little buddy, that was there right on the screen to help them, especially when they were new. First 6 weeks on the phones, big deal for them. The harder part was the supervisors because they had more of the perspective of it's coming for me. So we introduced them into coaching insights and helped them see like, what if you just worked with it so that you didn't have to listen to 45 phone calls every week. Coaching insights is going to give you what you need, and then you can actually be more efficient at your job, but more importantly, you can turn results without, banging your head against the wall because you're in this like circle where, the hamster wheel, and you can't get off the hamster wheel. So we did it in a different way of like, well, partner with it, look at coaching insights. And then the supervisors on their own ended up in their own little competitions using coaching insights. Cause it was like, I did this with my team and this is how far I got. And then we just kind of sat back and watched it all happen.
I love that.
Yeah, I focused a lot on the agents, but the managers love it, where they could actually spend their time coaching,
Yes.
not prepping for coaching sessions, not
Yep.
listening to 5 hours of phone calls per week, scoring them, trying to find a trend on 3 phone calls for one agent.
Yep.
You're not going to do it. But when Cresta's listening to 100%, it was a game changer for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for us in healthcare, and I think the sell is really easy, which is one of the big phrases you hear in healthcare is just operating at the top of your license. And so the idea of applying AI is not to replace the clinician, it is to supplement them, to allow them to really be free and apply their creativity and their intelligence to each individual experience and really connect with that patient. And not worry about, did I ask this question? Did I check that box? Did I do this and that? And so that's what we're going for. And I think the clinician team is really excited about it. Now, again, AI is affecting everybody in every part of every organization and everybody needs to evolve. But for us, that's what our call center team looks like. It is a bunch of clinicians.
Yeah, I love that. This is a tool to help make you better, to free you up to do what you are meant to be absolutely excellent at, that you are irreplaceable in, right? And so I love that message. Kind of related, all 3 of you are on the journey to deploy fully autonomous AI agents either across voice or digital channels. How are you thinking about managing now a hybrid workforce of AI and humans? Curious how, that could go in a myriad of directions, I think, but curious how you all are thinking about approaching that.
Yeah, I can start on this one. Because I haven't done it. I think, Tiffany, you're the only one who has it in production. We are almost to production. We may launch as soon as next week. So we don't know what we don't know. I'm looking forward to spending time with more of your customers to get their insights on this. But I mean, the reality is these are staff that are going to constantly need to be trained, but to your point, train them once and not again, and you don't have to deal with PTO and other things. And so it's staff. And again, this isn't just the call center. This is across the entirety of the organization and a challenge that all of us have to figure out how to solve. And everyone's gonna have a team of people that you manage. Some of them are people, I said people, but some are people and some are AI agents. And we just have to adapt to that as a management team and a leadership team.
I was an agent. That's where I started my career, on the phones. And I wasn't good at it. I wasn't a good agent. I was much better at, supervising.
You're great at operations, so it works out well.
Better not on the phone. Don't put me on the phone. But I think we got a little glimpse of it at the Wave event, and really seeing that kind of gave me some stuff to go back home and think about. And it really was trying to figure out what's everybody's career path look like for themselves? Where are they interested? What are they interested in? And I think it's going to be a nice bridge, right, between that frontline agent moving into like a supervisory role, overseeing a bunch of AI agents, right? And they can have like a little team that they oversee before they move into maybe managing the human agents. I think that's going to constantly evolve over the next few years, but that's kind of how I see it kind of transforming. And chatbots will be new for us, and interacting through the web portal all the way around. So that might mean that we're shifting resources, right? People that are probably really good with their grammar, well, move them over to chat.
Yeah.
And those that are better talkers, well, they'll stay on the phones. And those that really just want to oversee and they're ready for that next role, they'll move into kind of overseeing the chatbots or the AI agents.
Yeah, love that. And for anybody out there in the audience is like wondering, okay, like what is Dan talking about? Like, is there any
Sorry,
secret
my bad.
functionality? No, it's
My
okay.
bad.
I'll explain it. I'll let you in on the secret. It's okay. So Dan's referring to our Agent Operations Center, which is the area inside of Cresta in which you can manage both human and AI conversations inside of one interface. And I think that the really interesting kind of topic is around career progression for some of our contact center agents. What do they go do next? And what some of our customers are starting to do is have the best performing contact center agents step in as the supervisor for either the AI agents or hybrid kind of team. Now, this is all kind of new territory for all of us, so it'll be interesting to see how this thing progresses. But some early indicators are really promising for people having that as a career kind of trajectory. To go into a little bit more of a technical role from a contact center role. But Tiffany, anything that you'd add on this one?
I'd say we're closest to where Dan said it's a mindset shift of like, okay, who's good where and where will they take themselves when they embrace it? It reminds me a little of when when Apple released the App Store. Everyone was like, oh my gosh, humans will never be used again. It's like, no, humans were completely used again, just in a different capacity. And there was never just because there's an app, I personally am not aware of anyone that shut down a customer service center because an app existed. And I think I keep my mindset there of like that's how this is going to be. There will be agents, supervisors that will hopefully naturally evolve themselves to like, oh, actually, if I can sit and be in the agent operations center, that would be my dream role. And might help people like Dan who maybe weren't as good on the phones, but good operationally because they'll be really good at managing those. When we launched Virtual Agent, I will tell you that several members of my team, you can go down rabbit holes watching the virtual agent have conversations. I even found myself there of like, oh, I could sit and watch this all day. So I think there will be employees that naturally merge themselves, naturally just go whatever interests them the most next. But for Aptive, it has not been let's go completely automated. It's like, no, we want you to work in tandem.
Right.
We want you to partner with it. So we're going to show you things, and their curiosity is really leading the way and what I think their next steps will be.
Yeah, that's exciting. And I also find myself, especially when like new customers go live, I'll just kind of like make sure things are on track. But then I like really just start loving following the conversation. It's a lot of fun. Okay, we're kind of at the final stretch here. We'll leave the audience maybe with 2 parting gifts. What's one key lesson that you've learned through your AI transformation process? If you could dial yourself back, about a year ago, 4 months ago, 4 years ago, like what's one key lesson that you learned throughout the process? And then maybe what's one pitfall people should avoid? Dan, you want to go first?
I mean, it goes back to what I've said on like every single question, which is keep it simple. Like I think at first
It's a simple answer for many questions.
yeah, a woman I worked with in my prior life always would ask me when I would get a little bit overwhelmed. She'd always ask like, "How do you eat an elephant?" And I'd like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, "One bite at a time." She was from the South then, and yeah, she always spoke in analogies, but that is held true going into AI and like how do you tackle this? And it's just one thing at a time. Don't try to tackle it all at once. Yeah, focus on the bigger targets. Focus on you're going to have the biggest return on investment.
Any pitfalls to avoid? Doing too many things at once maybe is the biggest one.
Yeah, that and expecting it to be perfect. That was my big one. Yeah, trying to tackle everything and then also expecting perfection.
You know, we brought up data previously and data, your environments, your readiness, all of that. And AI is so broad. It's not just within your call center technology. There's certainly things around it that you also need to bring along and get ready to work appropriately with the call center to really bring out the value. And so I guess my learning has been how important that is. Metadata is a detailed term that only people in this room probably would really appreciate how important it is. But you know, I said my first goal is around personalization, and that gets brought to life by making sure that we are transferring the appropriate data back and forth between what our internal customer systems say and what goes into the Cresta application. So just there's so much to do. Make sure that you are focused on the things that are really proprietary to your business, and then partner with people who, you know, can bring it to life in some way. So that was our strategy. Relative to pitfalls, I haven't hit one yet that is material. But I do think the idea around expecting perfection, waiting for perfection is probably the biggest thing I would advise people to stay clear of. You don't need to be perfect. People, I think, will give us some grace most of the time, and so let's take it while we're learning.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I could go back in time, we would probably have a little bit more clear of a roadmap because we really had no idea what we didn't know. No regrets. We would still start exactly where we started with Agent Assist because it was such a massive win for us. And I mentioned earlier we didn't have a lot of data, but we quickly had it so far after. So we had data so quickly after.
Right.
That I think if I could go back to that point is we would actually keep it simple but go a little faster in what we scaled up. We would have moved from virtual assistant, but we waited for perfection and we waited for perfect data. And I think over time, you know, a year into it, we stood in our own way, if you will, and we could have taken things a little bit faster and just been like, okay, you know, it's okay. It's not 100% perfect. It's not perfect, but let's go for this and this. We would have got to insights quicker. We would have got to a lot of other areas quicker. So that's what I go back and do.
Love that. Yeah. Fantastic advice. All three of you, very well done. Thank you so much. To our audience, thank you so much for joining. Hopefully you took away some fantastic takeaways in terms of folks who have been on the AI transformation journey for some time now. And I just want to give a massive thank you to each of the folks here on our panel today. I thought it was an incredible discussion and look forward to the next one.